So guys, here's some like some stuff that they used like back then. Like here's like a musket, and then isn't like what's that?
This is a powder horn, and in order to fire your rifle or musket, this would carry your black powder. This was called a charge. You put it down the barrel, and then you put the round, your bullet down the barrel, and you set the powder off, and it would fire the weapon. The pouch I'm carrying here is called a shooter's pouch. This is where I keep all my supplies to help maintain my rifle.
Like spare bullets.
Like spare bullets and all.
And then you have a knife.
Over here is just my utility knife is basically what it is for serving all kinds of purposes. Carry a little patch knife up here. Sometimes what you need to do when you put a bullet in the barrel, I'll explain that. You have a patch, and you need to cut the patch so it's just big enough for to push the bullet down into the barrel. Also, what was very common out here in the frontier was wearing of the leggings, and this protected your lower legs from brambles and sharp thorns and bushes, and if thick enough, may prevent you from getting snake bit. But this is a rifle. This is a 50 caliber rifle. What makes it a rifle is because inside the barrel it's grooved, and once you set the bullet down into the barrel and you fire it, the bullet would be spinning and would come out the barrel very, very accurate that way, as opposed to a musket. In a musket, the barrel would be a smooth barrel musket. Not as accurate as this, because when you put the ball down, it would kind of bounce its way up the barrel, and wherever it was at the top of the barrel would be the direction in which that bullet would go. But to fire this, what I would have to do is, now I don't have all that with me right now, but you would take a ball and patch. You have a little patch, and what you do is you take your powder, and sometimes you would have a powder measure, so you know exactly how much powder you want to put down in the rifle, or the powder down. Okay? And at that point, you take your ball and your patch, you put the patch on top of the barrel, and you got your ball in the patch, and then kind of push it down a little bit, and you take your ramrod out. And you push the ball all the way down to the bottom of the barrel. Make sure it's set down there. Take the ramrod out. You can do one of two things. If you're being attacked by a bear or an Indian, you don't want to spend time putting the ramrod back in the carriage like this, you know, and that takes a lot of time. Sometimes they would just stick it in the ground or just throw it on the ground. So I will reseat the ramrod. At that point, this is your lock, and this little thing here, this little mechanism is called a cock, and you would pull it back, and it's back right now. It's what's called half cock, like going off half cock. Ever heard that expression? No. This is called a frizzen, and this is the pan. Okay, now remember, I already have a powder and ball down here, right? Now if you look very closely in the pan, you see that little hole?
Yeah.
It's called a touch hole. And what it does, it goes all the way through the barrel. And so I take some powder, maybe out of the powder horn, or I might have a smaller powder horn with powder to put into the pan. I put a little bit of powder in the pan, and I close the frizzen, and that keeps the powder from falling out. Okay? And at this point, I would pull this back to full cock. All right? This here is a little stone. It's called a flint. It has to be very sharp, because when I pull the trigger, the flint will hit the frizzen and cause a spark. And the spark will ignite the powder that's in the pan, and it will work its way into the barrel and set the powder off that's in the barrel and shoot the bullet out. That sounds like a lot of things going on, doesn't it? But it happens right just like that. Now, this rifle is not loaded, okay? But if I'll show you what happens is, if you look very closely and I pull the trigger, you should see a small spark, okay? Can't promise anything, because sometimes they don't. They don't go off.
Yeah, so that's
Did you see that spark?
Yeah.
That's enough just to set the powder off and fire the weapon.
Oh, is this like a gun that was used like back then?
Yes, sir.
Do you know who used it?
Most frontiersmen.
Eric?
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. Come back and
Guys,
visit
this
us,
is about
okay?
the end of this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Please like, please subscribe, and also please comment, guys. I will see you all in the next video. Bye!